There is a man in a garage right now. He has been on his knees for 2 hours. His hands are bleeding from the wire brush. His back is on fire. He has gone through half a can of a $20 rust remover that smells like chemicals and promises miracles, and the rust is still there, still red, still eating through the metal, still winning. Now watch what happens when someone who actually knows the truth walks up to that same piece of metal. They pick up a cheap plastic spray bottle. Inside is a clear liquid that cost less than $1. They spray it directly onto the heavy, flaking, blood-red rust. And then something happens that no commercial rust remover commercial will ever show you. The red rust begins to bubble. It fizzes. It reacts violently. And then it turns jet black. Not covered. Not painted over. Chemically converted. Permanently destroyed. Transformed into a rock-hard, inert, protective black armor shell that is bonded to the surface of the metal at a molecular level. No scrubbing. No sandpaper. No wire brush. No sanding to bare metal. No back pain. No bleeding knuckles. Just a $1 spray, a chemical reaction that takes minutes, and rust that is gone forever. That is not a sales pitch. That is chemistry. And the auto detailing industry has spent decades making sure you never learned it. Welcome to the buried blueprint. I am going to show you the exact chemical, where to buy it for under $1, and how to use it to permanently destroy rust on your car, your truck, your tools, your undercarriage, your frame rails, and anything else iron and oxygen have conspired to destroy. If you want to keep uncovering what billion-dollar industries are hiding from you, hit subscribe right now and ring the bell. Because what I am about to tell you is the kind of information that disappears from the internet. Let me start with the scam, because you deserve to understand exactly how you have been played. Walk into any auto parts store in America right now. Go to the rust section. You will find dozens of products. Sprays, gels, dips, wipes, primers, converters. All of them marketed with bold fonts and dramatic promises. All of them priced between $15 and $30 for a small bottle. And almost all of them will make you do the exact same thing before you even open them. They will tell you to sand first, wire brush first, remove the loose rust first, get down to clean, bare metal first, before you apply any of their miracle product. Do you understand what that means? It means they are selling you a finishing product and pretending it is a solution. They are telling you to do 90% of the hardest work yourself, with your hands, with your sweat, with your time, and then apply their product as a top coat. They are not removing the rust. You are removing the rust. They are just selling you a paint-adjacent sealer and calling it a remover. And here's the part that should make you genuinely angry. Physical grinding, physical sanding, physical wire brushing does not fully remove rust. It never has. When you grind red rust off metal, you are removing the surface layer. But rust does not stay on the surface. Rust penetrates into the microscopic pores of the metal. It lives inside the grain structure of the iron. When you sand it off, you create a smooth surface that looks clean. But underneath that surface, inside those pores, invisible to the naked eye, the iron oxide is still there, still alive, still bonded to the metal. And the moment humidity touches it, or salt touches it, or moisture gets under your top coat, the rust erupts again, faster than before, because now the surface is more porous from your sanding. Now the rust has a deeper entry point. Now it spreads laterally under your primer, bubbling your paint from beneath, eating your frame from the inside out, and 6 months later, you are back in that garage on your knees with another $20 bottle of lies. That is not an accident. That is a business model. The auto detailing chemical industry is worth billions of dollars annually. Not because they solve rust, because they do not solve rust, because they sell you temporary relief that guarantees a return customer. They have engineered their products specifically to require sanding so that the application is difficult enough to feel like work, so that you feel invested, so that when the rust comes back, you blame yourself instead of them. You think you did not sand deep enough. You think you missed a spot. You think you need to try a different product, maybe their premium line, maybe the $40 version, and you go back to the store and you buy it again, and again, and again. Meanwhile, sitting on the shelf in a completely different section of that same hardware store, sometimes right next to the concrete supplies, sometimes in the masonry aisle, sometimes with the driveway prep products, there is a bottle of plain concrete etcher. It costs under $2 for a concentrated quantity. The active ingredient is phosphoric acid. And phosphoric acid is the only substance on Earth that does not just remove rust. It destroys it, permanently, at the molecular level. But before I give you the exact step-by-step application, I need to tell you something important. This phosphoric acid hack is just one chapter in a much larger library of suppressed solutions that the home repair, auto, and survival industries do not want you to have access to. I have put together something called the complete buried blueprint vault. It is a collection of dozens of classified DIY survival and home repair guides that cover everything from waterproofing your basement for $3 to eliminating mold permanently without bleach, to fixing rotting wood with a hardware store liquid that turns soft rot into solid stone. Every single guide in the vault is based on chemistry and history that existed before corporations decided it was more profitable to sell you a subscription to their brand instead. The link is in the description below. Check it out after this video, but stay right here, because exactly how you apply this phosphoric acid changes everything. And if you skip to the end, you will miss the one mistake that causes people to apply it wrong and not get the full conversion. Now let me explain the science. Because once you understand what is happening at the molecular level, you will never look at rust the same way again. Rust is iron oxide, that is its chemical name. When iron is exposed to oxygen and moisture, a chemical reaction occurs that strips electrons from the iron atoms and binds them to oxygen molecules, forming iron oxide, which is that red, flaky, brittle, destructive compound you see eating through your car. Iron oxide is structurally weak. It does not bond tightly to the metal underneath it. It is porous. It is expansive. It takes up more space than the original iron, which is why it causes metal to bubble, crack, and delaminate. And it is electrochemically active, which means it actively accelerates further corrosion around it. Red rust is not static. It is alive. It is spreading right now. Physical removal does not stop it. You already know that. But here is why phosphoric acid stops it permanently. Phosphoric acid is a relatively mild but highly specific acid. When it contacts iron oxide, a chemical reaction occurs that is precise and irreversible. The phosphoric acid molecules bond directly to the iron ions in the rust compound. This reaction produces a new chemical compound called iron phosphate, also known as ferric phosphate. And ferric phosphate is the opposite of iron oxide in almost every measurable way. Iron oxide is red, flaky, porous, structurally weak, and electrochemically active. Ferric phosphate is jet black, dense, hard, chemically inert, and electrically non-conductive. It does not corrode. It cannot continue to rust because it is no longer iron oxide. The iron atoms have been chemically reclassified. They have been converted from a corrosion product into a stable, non-reactive compound that is bonded tightly to the surface of the metal. Ferric phosphate also acts as a mild primer, improving adhesion for any top coat you apply over it. You are not cleaning rust off the metal. You are using a chemical reaction to permanently convert the rust into something that protects the metal. You are turning the enemy into the armor. And that is why the auto industry does not want you to know about it. Because once the rust is converted, it does not come back. There is no maintenance cycle. There is no repeat purchase. There is no reason to go back to that store and spend another $20. $1 of phosphoric acid can permanently destroy a problem that they have built a billion-dollar business model around keeping alive. Now, let me give you the exact process. I am going to walk you through every step. I want you to be able to do this today, this weekend, or the next time you look under your car and feel that familiar sinking feeling when you see red. Step 1 is the only physical preparation step, and I need to be very specific about what I mean because there is a wrong way to do this and a right way. You are going to use a stiff bristled brush, a basic wire brush, or even just a rag, and you are going to knock off any loose, chunky, flaking rust and surface dirt. I am not telling you to sand. I am not telling you to grind. I am not telling you to go to bare metal. You do not need to. Phosphoric acid works on active red rust. It needs the rust to be present to perform the conversion. All you are removing is the loose surface debris, so that the acid can make direct contact with the bonded rust layer. If you sand to bare metal, you are removing the substrate that the acid needs to react with. So brush off the loose stuff and stop. You are done with physical prep. Step 2 is safety, and I will not skip over this because phosphoric acid at working concentration is a genuine chemical irritant. Put on safety glasses, real ones, not sunglasses. Wrap around protective eyewear. Put on chemical-resistant gloves, nitrile or rubber, not fabric. If you are working in a confined space, like underneath a car, wear a mask rated for chemical vapors and make sure there is ventilation. Do not let the acid contact your skin for extended periods. It will not burn you instantly, but prolonged contact will irritate your skin seriously. Keep a bucket of clean water nearby. If you get it in your eyes, flush immediately with water for 15 minutes and get medical attention. This is a real chemical, and it deserves real respect. Step 3 is the application. Take your concrete etcher, which is your source of phosphoric acid, and pour it into a spray bottle if it did not come in one. Shake lightly. Spray it generously and directly onto the rust. You want full saturation. You want the acid pooling slightly in the pits and crevices where the rust is deepest. Do not be stingy. You want the chemical to have enough volume to fully react with all the iron oxide present. As soon as the acid contacts the red rust, you will see it begin to react. It will fizz. It will darken. The red color will begin shifting toward brown, then dark gray, then black. That is the ferric phosphate forming in real time. That is chemistry happening in front of you. Watch it closely, because that visual change is your confirmation that the conversion is working. Step 4 is the dwell time. Leave the acid on the surface and let it work. Depending on the thickness and depth of the rust, this can take anywhere from 5 minutes to 30 minutes. For heavy rust, give it more time. You may want to reapply a second coat if the first application dries out before the full conversion is complete. The surface should turn uniformly black or dark gray. If you see any remaining red areas, apply more acid to those spots. The conversion is not complete until the red is gone. Step 5 is the neutralization and wipe down. Once the conversion is complete and you have a uniform black surface, rinse the area thoroughly with clean water. Water neutralizes the acid and stops the reaction. Wipe the surface dry with a clean rag. What you are left with is a hard, matte, black, chemically stable surface that is now ready for primer or top coat if you choose to apply one. You do not have to. The ferric phosphate layer itself is protective, but if you want to paint over it for appearance, the surface will accept primer beautifully because ferric phosphate has excellent adhesion properties. And that is the entire process. A brush to knock off the loose debris, safety gear, spray, watch the rust convert, rinse, done. No sanding to bare metal, no grinding. No wire wheel on an angle grinder for 3 hours, no bloody knuckles, no dust, no noise. Just chemistry, doing the work that you have been doing manually for years. Now let me give you the final number, because this is the part where the reality of what has been done to you becomes very clear. A professional rust treatment service for a vehicle undercarriage in the United States costs between $800 and $2,500 depending on your region and the severity of the rust. Full rust repair on a frame with cutting and welding can run $5,000 or more. A bottle of premium auto store rust converter costs between $15 and $30 per small application. You will use multiple bottles, you will spend hours sanding, and in 6 months the rust will be back. What you just learned today costs less than $2. The Concrete Etcher is available at every hardware store in America. Home Depot, Lowe's, True Value, Ace Hardware, Menards. It is always in stock, it is always cheap. A gallon of concentrated phosphoric acid-based concrete etcher costs between $8 and $15 and will treat an enormous amount of rust. Per application, you are spending pennies. The industry prays you never figure this out. They pray you stay in that garage, on your knees, scrubbing with your wire brush, buying their $30 bottles of engineered disappointment, cycling through product after product, never realizing that the actual solution has been sitting 3 aisles away in the concrete section the entire time, unbranded, unsexy, and ruthlessly effective. If this video helped you, subscribe right now, not as a favor to me, but because the knowledge I am putting out in this channel is specifically the knowledge that industries spend lobbying money trying to bury. Every subscriber makes it harder to suppress. Share this video with everyone you know who owns a vehicle, owns tools, lives in a humid climate, or has ever spent an afternoon fighting rust and lost. Because they lost on purpose. You were supposed to lose. You were supposed to get tired, give up, call a contractor, pay for a service, buy the premium product, and never know that the real answer was staring at you from the concrete prep aisle. Now you know. And knowing is the first act of resistance. The next blueprint opens soon, and what's inside is even heavier.